have this recording, and we're going to share this recording with our audience, and we're going to give the candidates and legislators this meeting. So we can start recording. Katie or Candace, you can do that for me.
Yeah, it looks like we're good to go now.
Thank you. All right. Well, welcome everyone to the end of session party. Wishing we could be in person. I hope everyone's been safe and well. It's been a crazy year, but we are happy to have all of you here and look at all the, and we're so happy to have this panel and speakers that we have and performers. One of our performers is canceled due to illness, so we're gonna miss Jess, and her amazing talent tonight. We're wishing her well. I want to introduce the ERA Task Force AZ first. My name's Anessa Rashetta. I'm part of the board and the leadership of the ERA Task Force AZ, and I will be hosting this event tonight. I wanted to give a shout out to my other colleagues on the task force. We have Diane Post. She can wave, or you can find her name. We call her fearless leader, even though we don't have anybody in that official role, right? Hi, there she is. And she's taken on a lot of lion's share of the work this last year. So we're really happy to have her. And then Pat Sahirshan does the graphics and website. Rebecca McHood does our sashes and a lot of our other activities. Then we have a coalition of people that come and to our monthly meetings from their organization, so we can coordinate our efforts. And that group, I hate naming names, but we have a few that we really want to thank, Kathleen Abernathy, Becky Saylor, Doreen Robney, Jenny Lee, Richardson, Ann Pyron, Lynn Leonard. The hard part about when you start naming names, you're going to miss someone, so I probably shouldn't do this, but we're really proud of our coalition. We meet monthly and really coordinate our efforts, so thank you guys. And all of our volunteers. We're an all-volunteer organization. We're a 501c4, and our sole purpose is to get the Arizona State Legislature to ratify the Equal Rights Amendment. We want that sentence in our U.S. Constitution. Equality of rights shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on the account of sex. So thank you all for all the work you've been doing. I'm going to introduce our outline, and then we'll get to more of what we're going to cover from this last year. The last 12 months is what we're going to spotlight. So one of the things we have to celebrate is in January of 2020, we have Virginia ratified the Equal Rights Amendment, being the 38th state to hit that required 3/4 majority. So you could do your silent applause. We can see the movement and how exciting that was, but we still have more to do. The archivist has yet to add the amendment to the U.S. Constitution, and it is important that all 50 states ratify the ERA, making it unequivocal that as a country we protect equality of rights regardless of sex. And we will continue with our organization and all of you in Arizona to do this work until Arizona is among those states that have voted for this amendment to be a part of our Constitution. And we have a lot of people here to thank, but we've done a lot of work over the last 12 months. It's different than last year. Last year we were at the legislature a lot, had sentinels and meetings, a lot of rallies. But this past year, it's been a lot of groundwork of education and reaching into the rural areas so that we could prepare voters this year to have an educated vote to make sure that equality candidates are elected to our Arizona State Legislature to ensure that the ERA will be voted on and passed to ratify in January 2020. So we have several candidates for the Arizona Legislature that are going to speak to us tonight, and we have several legislators that have been introducing the bill and debating for the ERA bills for years, and we are proud to have them as well. We got a lot of work still ahead of us to make sure that we get out the vote and get people voting for those equality candidates. I'm going to introduce a few of I'm going to introduce the candidates. We have a lineup. We're going to be kind of alternating between candidates and those representatives. And then later we're going to hear from Diane Post, who's going to give us a rundown of the legal battle that's going on right now. And I'm going to kind of give an overview of the 12 months of work from June 2019 to June 2020. And then we have a performance by Clam Slam for you as well. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat box. We'll try to get to them if there's time, but it's a very tight schedule. Everyone who's speaking tonight has 5 minutes. It's very short, brief remarks, but we really hope to hear from all of them. So I hope you guys will be respectful of that time. And we will start with candidate Kathy Connect. She is running for the Arizona House of Representatives in Legislative District 21. And we are, if you want to get your sound on, I'll mute myself and we will hear from her for the next 5 minutes.
Thank you, Anessa. Thank you so much, everybody. It's nice to see so many friendly people. A lot of you I know, some of you I don't. And Ashley Brennan is on, and she's working with our campaign. So Ashley, if I get close to 5 minutes, you can give me the hook. So this is a party today, and I'm so excited about that. I put on my party clothes. See, I got my party clothes on. I know not everybody. Not everybody knows me, so I'll just give you a little bit about my background. I did run for the Arizona Senate in 2018, and now I'm running for the Arizona House. This time I'm going to win. And with Coral and Judy, we're going to switch the majority so that we can get some work done here in the state of Arizona, because there's never been more important work to be done. Absolutely, especially with the challenges of COVID-19. And we'll get the ERA ratified too, because that's really important. So I used to be a teacher, and now I'm a mother of 2 grown daughters. When I was working on the school board, I was on the school board in Peoria for 12 years. So I saw how important it is to provide every kid in Arizona a quality education. And I saw the challenges that we face because Arizona kept cutting and cutting and cutting. And I saw the inequity across the state of Arizona because as the president of the School Boards Association, I got to travel the state, and kids across the state don't have the same opportunities. And that's not right, because every kid in this country and every kid in this state deserves an equal opportunity. And I realized that, you know, we're not going to change these problems, no matter how good our school boards are, no matter how hard our local communities work. If we really want to fix education in Arizona, we need a new legislature. And that's what prompted me to get involved and to run for state office. And so I did really well in 2018. I got 48% as an independent. And this time I'm running as a Democrat for the Arizona House. I bring with me experience as a small business, somebody who has run a small business here in the West Valley. I ran a group called Leadership West, which if you know about Valley leadership, it's like that, but it serves 13 cities west of I-17. And before I ran that company, I went through the program. And I learned a little bit about everything that impacts our community, whether it's healthcare or transportation or infrastructure or public safety or how our government works. And I grew my network of community leaders so that when an issue comes up and I want to talk to somebody, I know who I can call. And so that experience has been wonderful for me. I'm very well connected to the West Valley community leaders here. And then the other thing that I've done over the years is I've been a nonprofit board member on a variety of different causes that are really important. Domestic violence, supporting our teachers with grants, supporting our students with scholarships, senior care, senior transportation in Sun Cities. So service is what I do. But I should probably give you my, my feminist credentials tonight. I belong to 3 AAUW branches here in Arizona. And I'm actually the co-founder of the one in the Southwest Valley. And by the way, if you have friends in the Southwest Valley, we're really looking to grow that membership out there. And I am so lucky to have living with me now a 21-year-old social justice warrior who worked for the feminist majority when she went to ASU. And so having that youth in my home and having her there to help teach me and guide me through all the equity issues that this country is facing right now has been such a blessing. We can all be good listeners. We can all learn something every day. And certainly with the equality issues here in the United States these days, it's been so fabulous. At the end of the day, I'm about equality for all people, and I oppose discrimination in all of its forms. And I know that in this group, we are strong and we are going to change the world. And I am just so thrilled to be a part of this coalition. And we're going to get some very important work done come January. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Kathy Connect. Legislative District 21, for anyone who is in that district, help get out the vote. Even if you're not, we're gonna, if you check the chat box, we've linked her website and her Facebook page, so you can get more information and how to volunteer to help get out the vote. And make sure we've got, you know, lots to do to make sure that we are successful in November. All right. Yes, you're welcome. Thank you so much. And we do have a few UW members on the coalition, so we'll see if we can get you some more members in the Southwest. Okay, so next up we have Senator Victoria Steele. She represents the Arizona Legislative District 9 in the Arizona Senate. She has introduced the bill in the Senate for, I'm sure she'll let you know how many years in a row. She's been championing getting that ratification process through the legislature, and we are hoping with success in November, we'll have enough equality candidates that we can be successful. So Senator Steele, it's your turn. Are you ready to unmute and get on?
I am unmuted. Can you hear me?
Great, thank you, welcome.
Thank you. Well, you all know it was about 5 decades ago that the Equal Rights Amendment to the U.S. Constitution was proposed to ban discrimination on the basis of sex. And slowly but surely, we're getting there. So the polling is strong, showing that 3 out of 4 Americans support the Equal Rights Amendment. And now that Virginia is the 38th state to ratify, the whole thing is back before Congress. Conservatives are putting up rabid opposition. They fear it endangers their right-wing stances on transgender and abortion rights. There is a partisan gap, though, in how the ERA is viewed. But still, the majorities are in support. 9 out of 10 Democrats, compared with 6 out of 10 Republicans, support the ERA. That's based on a poll from the Associated Press, NRC, and ORC, Center for Public Affairs Research. That came out in February of this year. Now, we all know how badly we need the ERA to be enshrined in our Constitution. So how did Virginia manage to do it? I gotta tell you, I am jealous. I have no problem admitting that. We worked really hard and we thought we were gonna be able to do it, but it didn't happen. Not yet. Their state, Virginia, their legislative elections are on the off year. So last year, they had a tremendous get out the vote effort by feminist groups.
Oh, them ironwood.
And
Sorry about that. Someone joined and it took a second to mute. Welcome, Sam.
That's okay. So they had a tremendous, in Virginia, they had that tremendous get out the vote effort by feminist groups, and they flipped the legislature, taking control of both chambers, House and Senate. All of a sudden, women were in those key positions of leadership. And once their legislative session started this past January, they quickly ratified the ERA. It was almost like the first thing that they did. So why haven't we been able to do that here in Arizona? Well, that's because the Republicans have the majorities in both chambers. And since the 1970s, those people have blocked it from even getting a vote. But now, just like in Virginia, we are really, really close to flipping both chambers. And we too could see a Democratic majority in both chambers, and that would almost assure ratification of the ERA in Arizona. Representative Pamela Powers-Hanley and I have introduced this ERA bill every session for years, and we're going to do it again next year. And I believe with all my heart, 2021 is going to be the year that Arizona ratifies the ERA. It's going to be up to all of us, though. I know, but it's going to be up to all of us to make sure that we support those candidates like Kathy Connect and Felicia French and Mayor Evans. We've got to support them, and I don't even know who the rest of the candidates are there, but we've got to support you all and make sure that we get candidates who are pro-ERA and help them take those seats where we have the best chance of flipping the districts. And even though we aren't the 38th state to ratify, we still need to keep our nose to the grindstone, and here's why. I'll go through this real quickly, but these are 4 important reasons why we're not giving up. It's still important. It would underline that the ultimate goal is to have all 50 states ratify, just like the 19th Amendment, in which all 50 states eventually ratified the women's vote, but Mississippi didn't ratify it until 1984. How embarrassing for them. Ratification is an absolute vote of support, and we do not, I repeat, we do not want Arizona to be on that short list of states that didn't care enough about the principles of equal rights of women to vote for it. So now that Virginia is that necessary 38th state to ratify, we are on untrodden constitutional ground. If Arizona and some of the other states become numbers 39, 40, 41, and so on, it will show that strong support is growing, and it will add wind under the wings of the final ERA resolution. It sends a clear message to all that they don't dare oppose it. And then finally, number 4, and this is the most important reason to keep our nose to the grindstone, keep the energy up, keep going, because Arizona's ratification of the Equal Rights Amendment will send a message to every single woman and girl in Arizona that our state leaders, our state, our constituents, our people, our citizens care about them and their interests. So let's keep working. We're going to flip the legislature. We're going to get those misogynists out of office once and for all. Bye-bye, misogynists. And thanks. That's it.
Awesome. Thank you, Senator. We have posted in the chat box her website and her Facebook page and the azledge.gov. So you guys can please go and check that out. That was really inspirational. Like I don't think I realized about Mississippi not voting until 1984 for votes for women. Oh man. And sadly, you know, it is a constant battle because a few years ago, there was a trending hashtag that said was repeal the 19th. So we have to be vigilant year after year. And I'm glad that we have, you know, representatives like you who never give up. Thank you. Oh, I muted myself. Next, we have Representative Pamela Powers-Hanley, who represents the Legislative District 9 in the Arizona House of Representatives. She also, yay! So you're like, this is how we're gonna quietly applause. She also has introduced the bill for ratifying the Equal Rights Amendment for years in the House. And one of my favorite photos from 2019 is her holding up hundreds of names of people on the website that have voted in favor of the Equal Rights Amendment bill, and yet it still never was heard on the floor. So I'll let her speak now, and thank you for joining us, Representative Pamela Powers-Hanley.
Well, thanks so much for inviting me tonight. I like to see all your faces. It reminds me of, you know, the 38-mile march and all the things that we did, you know, over the years, and the fun party we had in Phoenix last year, and the music and the food. And so, you know, we'll do that again, but it's really nice to see you all tonight. And so one of the things that I've really been sort of involved in, obviously, you know, since we had the COVID virus, you know, start in the state of Arizona, is thinking about what the future is going to be like after this, right? Because I think we all realize that the future is not going to be the same as it was before COVID-19, but before COVID-19, the future was not all so great for women, right? And so we actually have an opportunity, I think, to define our future beyond this. And, and of course we want passage of the ERA, we want paycheck fairness, we want reproductive rights, but I think that we could start asking for a whole lot more, because it's not going to be the same, and I would encourage us to band together with other oppressed groups and think about, what do we want to ask for in the future? What do we want out of this? Because it won't be the same. And so one of the things that I've been thinking about is like paradigm shifts, okay? Because obviously discrimination, the Me Too movement, it's pointed out all sorts of glaring things that are wrong in our society for women. And so I got out an old book the other day by Seth Godin, and it's called Survival is Not Enough. And he talked about people being serfs, farmers, hunters, and wizards. The serfs are the people who do what they're told to do. The farmers who are the people who till the soil and they innovate within a system that is defined for them. The hunters are the ones who are looking for new opportunities, and the wizards who are defining the future. So you could say, like Facebook or not, Mark Zuckerberg was a wizard because he changed all of our lives, or most of our lives, forever. And so what we need to do is, in post-COVID-19, who are the wizards who are going to define the future for the women of America or the women of the world? And who are the wizards who are going to have a better world? I mean, we could get out. I mean, it's bad now. It's very bad now. I feel bad for the people who have been laid off, and the people who are alone, and the people who have lost their loved ones. But we can get out of this with a better world if we really band together and say, yes, we want equality, but we want all these other things too. We want an end to poverty, because poverty is a women's issue, right? We want non-discrimination. We want an end to voter suppression. We want healthcare reform. I want all women in Arizona to get decent healthcare when they're pregnant and after they're pregnant and when they're needed in their lives. And so there's a lot to do. And I think that what we need to do is look for the wizards in the women's movement. Who can help us define how we get beyond COVID-19 and ask the universe for what we want, and all of what we want. And that's it. And so glad to see you.
Thank you. I need to go find my wand. Everyone go find your, get your wands out. We're gonna need them this fall.
Mhm.
We have a few wizards here amongst us. Thank you so much. That was really powerful. And you're right, there is a lot to do. And the Equal Rights Amendment is kind of a large scale, starting from the top down approach and increasing judicial review so that sex discrimination cases get that high judicial review, like race and religion. And then to show the whole land, and no matter what state you live in, believes in equality, then it should hopefully trickle down to allow those other, bills that you guys have in place for healthcare and stuff to have more power. Thank you. Well, I'm going to be next. I'm going to share with you what we have been doing over the last 12 months as a ERA Task Force AZ, and all of our volunteers and supporters. And I know there's other groups that have this as part of their agenda. And I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to have a bragging moment. Okay, so this graphic is by Pat, and it kind of gives our year in review of the last 12 months. We have been busy. We have spent more time this last 12 months raising awareness throughout the state, especially in rural areas, than we were at the Arizona State Building like in 2019. We have been laying the groundwork for voters to be informed and choose to elect legislators that will ratify the Equal Rights Amendment in January 2021. Okay, so we've had speaking engagements. We have spoken about the Equal Rights Amendment in front of more than 40 audiences. We spoke at summits and city councils, clubs, conferences, social gatherings, events, forums, and more. We've spoken with multiple organizations. all over the state, including Globe, Flagstaff, Phoenix, Tucson, Sierra Vista, Kingman, Sun City, Guadalupe City, Florence, Safford, Chandler, Bisbee, Cave Creek, Nogales, Pine Top, Saddlebrook, and more. So we have, and we have to give a little applause for Diane Post because she did most of that traveling all over the state. We've even spoken out of state. I spoke in Utah. Diane Post spoke at the National Now Conference in Minneapolis. We've tabled events at almost 30 events, sharing our materials, getting more support, getting letters to legislators. And we've been all over the state on tabling as well, in places like Payson, Sierra Vista, Yuma, Eager, with multiple different types of organizations. We've attended events to network. We've been to parades, just trying to get more visibility and more conversations. We've hosted events, like we've had last year's end of session event. We hosted an all-day advocacy training workshop to give tools to our followers of best practices in advocacy. We've had 2 wine tasting fundraisers in Scottsdale and Chandler. We've host our monthly planning meetings with our coalition members. And we have already shifted gears and have done online events since with the pandemic, having equality candidates Zoom meetings. We have sent people to Washington, D.C. to be a part of the hearings there. And Diane Post went to the national celebration in Virginia for the 38th state that when that was ratified. We've also had some media publications and interviews getting attention in the media. We've had several 10 op-eds, a couple of LTs in places like Green Valley, Payson, Tempe, Block for Arizona, India Times, Chinese News, Capital Times, Globe. We had a podcast radio interview, a couple of radio interviews, local articles published about the ERA in Globe, Phoenix, Tucson, Desert Independent. We had 2 different responses written and published in response to Kathy Harrod's op-ed by Stephen Anderson and Tammy Caputi, a gender parity article in AZ Big Media, and that we even had TV spot. So, and one of our big accomplishments that we can brag about is 22 cities passed resolutions asking this legislature to pass the ERA. The League of Cities and Towns, representing 91 Arizona cities and towns, passed a resolution at the annual meeting. The Intertribal Association, representing 21 tribes, passed it as well. So I'm gonna pretty impressive. While I was sharing my screen, I could not see anybody. So I want to see like the applause now. Round of applause for everyone who put all the effort in. To those of you who have been writing your legislatures, sharing our posts, look at all these clapping hands, like raise the roof, for donating, for Diane Post, for like, oh my gosh, she drove all over the state. I don't know how she does it. I mean, I thought I was doing a lot. But yes, it's a lot of effort by so many people, and that collaborative effort is what's going to be successful. And now we're shifting gears, and we hope that all of that work over the last 12 months, I share that all so that you can see that we've been planting seeds all over the state to be ready for November so that people will vote for equality candidates, those who will be ready to ratify in January. I think less people in Arizona will be able to say, what's the ERA, because of all of this work. It is a lot more attention nationally, but in Arizona, we've been keeping this attention going for a while. So this is what our focus is on next. We are, which I'm gonna share more of. Our next focus is all about the election, and we have some tools and some ways for everyone to help. I'm gonna share later in the program. But I just wanted you guys to be a part of our pat on the back. I'm really proud of everybody and what they've done and all the work that's been done. Everyone's volunteer. I know I mentioned that before, but all of us do this because we believe in it so much and what that can do for future generations to have that solidified in the US Constitution. It's a lot harder to turn back an amendment to the Constitution than it is a bill or a statute. All right. Next up in our program, we're kind of ahead of schedule, so I hope that's okay. We're just going to keep rolling with it. If anyone goes over during their time, that's fine, because we're doing well on our schedule. But we have Mayor Coral Evans. She is a mayor of Flagstaff and running for Legislative District 6. And we would be happy to hear from you now. Are you ready?
I am ready. Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you to the ERA Task Force Arizona for allowing me to speak. It's great to see each and every one of you. Thank you for being here tonight to listen to us and to listen to everything that has been happening with regards to the ERA and getting it passed here in the state. As was stated, I am the mayor of the city of Flagstaff, Arizona, and I am running for Arizona State House of Representatives in District 6. I am a third-generation daughter of Arizona. In addition to being the mayor of my city, I also run a nonprofit. It's called the Sunnyside Neighborhood Association of Flagstaff, and we focus very specifically on eradicating generational poverty through small business ownership. We have a small business incubator, and we work primarily with women and their children, helping them start businesses, because we believe the way out of generational poverty is for you to work for yourself and create your own wealth. I also own a small business called Destiny's Creations with my daughter, and we make bath and body products. I'm running for a state representative because I believe in local control. I also believe in education. My mom was a school teacher. She taught kindergarten through 3rd grade. I myself taught adult education, GED, and ESOL, English for Speakers of Other Languages. I also believe our environment is absolutely critical, and I believe in the power of small businesses, especially when it relates to communities. I'm pretty excited to let you all know what I've been able to do since becoming mayor in 2016 here in the city. I've served on council since 2008. Some of the things that we did, first and foremost, is we had an equal pay audit, where we went and made sure that all the women that work for the city of Flagstaff are being paid the same as their male counterparts. The second thing that we did was we implemented paid family leave. There was not paid family leave before that. And we also were one of the cities that passed a resolution in support of the ERA. We're really excited about that. I also wanted to mention that I sit on the Arizona League of Cities and Towns Executive Committee, and I was very excited to be one of the individuals pushing from the inside to make sure that the Arizona League sent a notice to the state that they too wanted to see the state ratify the ERA. And I'm looking forward to being one of those team members down there at the state as a state representative that helps push for that and helps make sure that we get that passed, because I believe in Arizona it is way past time, and we should have already done that. And we need to move forward in a bold way that shows that we believe in the equality of all people, regardless of their gender. So with that, that's all I had to say tonight, but I really greatly appreciate the opportunity to speak, and thank you so much.
Thank you. Everyone can do their silent applause. Well, it's definitely thank you for your help within the getting your city to pass the resolution and to get the League of Cities and Towns to vote. Did I say it right? The League of Cities and Towns. That's really impressive, and I hope that the Arizona legislature took note of those resolutions. So next we have Senator Martin Quezada. He represents Arizona District 29. He is another legislator that has worked with us for years and carried the job of the debate on the ERA in the Senate, doing such a good job that he won Debater of the Year award. So very impressed with him. If any of you were in the gallery that session, it was pretty impressive. So we are happy to introduce Senator Quezada.
All right, well, thank you everybody and good evening. Real quick again, my name is Martin Quezada. I have the privilege of representing the people of Maryvale and Glendale in Legislative District 29 as their state senator. And I just want to thank the ERA Task Force of Arizona and all of you for allowing me to be here with you today, and for all the great work that you all do in dedication to equality and to ratifying the Equal Rights Amendment. I want to say I'm honored to be here with some amazing legislative leaders and colleagues like Senator Steele and Representative Powers Hanley, and some amazing candidates too, like Kathy Connect. I know she just jumped off. Mayor Evans, Felicia French, Sharon, Gerard, Judy Schubert. I think you're going to hear from them later. But you guys, all of them are powerful advocates, and I really can't wait to have the opportunity to serve with all of you next year. A lot of candidates and a lot of elected officials, they're pretty good about talking the talk when it comes to supporting women, supporting women's rights, equality, and ratifying the ERA. But when it comes time to actually walk the walk and come out and be leaders on those issues and force the debate on those issues, I'm proud to have been able to do that with you. I've traveled up to Flagstaff to speak about the ERA to groups there. I testified before the Globe City Council to urge them to pass a resolution that urged the legislature to ratify the ERA. And I've been a co-sponsor of the bill to ratify the ERA in the state of Arizona for several years now. And for 2 years, in 2016 and 17, I was the prime sponsor of that bill. So I'm really proud of those efforts that I've made. And in all of those years, I've never hesitated to force a vote on that bill or to vocalize my support for the ratification of the ERA, because that's what our community deserves. They don't deserve talk or speeches or campaign promises. They deserve an actual vote. And so that we can all show where we stand on those issues. So all I'm here to say is that I'm going to continue to push hard on this issue and to demand nothing less than a vote, and to continue doing that until we pass it. Because just like you, I believe that, you know, the women of our community that make up 51% of our population, they need to be represented in the Constitution, and they need to be recognized as equal in the eyes of the law, under the eyes of the law. And so I also understand that passing the ERA is going to be a great thing to do, but it's just a start to ending sexism and to ending inequality in general. It's not the end. And there will certainly be more work that needs to be done after that. And I'm committed to doing that with you. So passing the ERA would be a powerful start. It would send a powerful message here in Arizona. And I've quickly learned that, you know, in your time in public, your time in public office is very short. And when you are blessed with a platform like that, and you're blessed with an opportunity to make meaningful change, you damn well better not waste it. And so I've lived with that philosophy as your senator since the day I was sworn in, and I've operated with the philosophy that each day could be my last, and I don't want to go home. I don't want to ever go home for the last time from the Capitol and regret not fighting harder for equality or not fighting harder for justice. So my pledge to all of you today is that nobody's going to continue to be a stronger supporter and advocate on this issue and every issue that is difficult but affects the majority of Arizonans in a personal and impactful way. I'm here to be your voice, and I'm here to fight for the Arizona that we all know that we deserve, and I will never settle for the Arizona that we believe is politically possible, rather than the Arizona that we know that we deserve. So I'm here to continue this fight and stand with you in the fight for equality. So thank you guys for having me, and keep up the good fight.
Thank you, Senator Quezada. I'm sure no one is surprised that you've won Debater of the Year. And I noticed in your background, it says re-elect Martin Quezada. I hope that everyone's taking note of that back there as well. And in our chat box, someone gave you a shout out at how good you are on Twitter. So if you are on Twitter, follow, like, and retweet Senator Quezada's Twitter account. Somebody, and Pyron gave that. I follow all of you, but so I know what she's talking about. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
All right. Well, we have a performance now. I want to introduce Divine Valentin. It's our first performance. She's a spoken word artist, and we're a little bit ahead of schedule, so I hope you're ready. Okay, so deep breath. Here we go.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, I'm gonna mute myself, and you're up. Wait, you muted yourself. Can you start over? Unmute and start over, please.
Yes,
There you go.
yes. So,
You got muted again. Pause real quick. Yes, so this
Okay.
happens sometimes. Just stay there. I know what
Okay.
this problem is. I'm going to fix it. So sometimes
Okay.
this happens when, do you have any like background music or anything happening?
no, I think it could
Okay.
have been me just touching it because I keep touching
Okay.
it. Okay,
All
I'm not
right.
going to touch it. Okay.
Go for it.
Well, thank you very much for having me. Thank you for this invitation. Thank you for allowing me to share your space with you. And thank you for allowing me to share my work. Okay, this is actually the first time I've ever recited this piece before, so I hope it fits, and just thank you very much. She is never scared. She just likes to be sure. She may get emotional at times, but there's a need to feel relief before she troops forward. She has a right to express herself, a God-given right to live in peace. In a land in a land she rests her head, it's a must she experience equality. She's quiet until her feathers are ruffled. She won't fall for anyone around her to create trouble. She's a soldier by default. Her training took place in the womb. In the making of her being, God didn't create no fool. She walks in her place. No one has to put her there. Her breath symbolizes submission. Her makeup has no room for fear. She's selfless in a world that tries to suffocate her, make her think she doesn't matter. But for every naysayer who opposes her position, only reinforces her mission. She's a game changer. Her rules apply. She's a how woman, not why. So when she's called to represent, she goes the distance, breaks molds and glass ceilings and thinks everything of it, because she knows that without her efforts, the nation won't grow. Great job, women. Thank you. We appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
I think we should go to gallery view and just show all of the hands moving for you. That was so amazing. I don't even know how to follow up after that. I'm choked up. So thank you so much. That was powerful. If you want to go into the chat box, it would be amazing if you shared any of your platforms that people can find more from you. So
of course, sure.
Thank you. That would be amazing. Someone commented that brought tears to their eyes. It's very powerful.
Oh, thank you.
And we were the first to hear that. Is that what you said?
Yes.
That we were the first?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I'm over here, I'm sweating like you would not even believe. I'm sweating.
She has a dozen more that she could do since we have time. She could do it.
So if you stay on with if you stay on with us, we would love to hear another. Actually, we're on schedule. Can you share another one?
I can. It'll be something hopefully not everyone has heard, but yeah, I can definitely do one off the head. So yeah, thank you.
All right, go for it.
This poem is called For Her. It's just an interesting piece because at this point I had never wrote about the woman, and this came to me early one morning. So thank you to the creator for working through me. So it's called For Her. This goes out to the woman who, This goes out to the woman who cries at night because she thinks she's not pretty, contemplating suicide because her burdens have become heavy. This goes out to the woman who's depressed, overwhelmed with stress, so she pollutes her body with cancer sticks and alcoholic beverages. This piece here is dedicated to the streetwalker who separates her body from her soul to get cash from men she doesn't know, who like wolves, they salivate over her rump shaker, but they don't know and don't want to know why she would stoop this low just to feed her babies, just to feed her babies. This goes out to the single mothers who feel that their purpose has been met by just being single, because to repeat the drama again with a potential mate would be insane. But sisters, better brothers are in the wings, willing to take hold of you and your offspring. Believe me, I know. Meeting him starts by letting go. I know you're strong, but holding on to the pain or disappointment another man showed sells yourself short for what you really deserve. Don't be fooled by the illusion. Recognize a real man for what he shows and what he's proven. Your strength is not denied. It shows in your ability to keep hope alive in your heart and mind. This piece is pouring out to the sisters who couldn't take it anymore. The sisters who did all they could and sacrificed love for war. Now, as they saturate our penitentiaries, our world is feeling weak. Our women are being tried and beaten to her knees, told fairy tale stories, so when they grow up, they breathe only fantasies. Damn Cinderella and Snow White. Tell me about the sister who stayed up all night to write a piece for her fellow sisters to eat, because the fruit doesn't fall far from the tree. This piece goes out to the woman who leaves behind footsteps of success, blueprints of developments, detailed instructions in all languages, because she's fully aware that her world is bigger than her backyard. This piece goes out to the woman who does spring cleaning even during the worst times of the year, because what seems trying is only her mirror smeared. Ain't nothing glass cleaner can't make disappear. Now, I can't forget about my little sis, my mini-me, the one who looks for a model to imitate, a replica of her soul, a familiar reflection. My little sis who's been raped of her innocence. This piece is for her. My little sis who on a constant basis is being raised with no man in her presence. And if there is one, she's afraid of him because he's touching her over and over and over again. To my soul sisters, this piece is for her too. The one who dresses up to look like you, a power sister that generates on a high frequency. The one who grew up in a home that constantly chants and moans. Breathe deep, sweetie. Your answers are in the center of your being. So be my sisters and be it great. This piece was written for her because it's not too late. The woman must be awake to operate, reinforce the importance of her existence, re-educate her, tell her the truth, let her know that if the shoes hurt, they weren't meant for you. So keep striving, keep moving on, and keep your soul safe from mental and bodily harm. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Oh, look at this. Thank you. Amazing. You should check this. I think you have a bunch more fans starting now. The chat box has a lot of praise, and several people are hoping you get in there and share your social media or in websites.
Thank you.
Anything you have.
I
Yes,
will.
you're
Thank you.
welcome. Thank you so much. Wow. Maybe if you stay on, we'll have you do one more at the end. We'll see if we have time for that. All right, so that was Divine Valentin. And next up, I get to introduce Felicia French. She is running for the Arizona State Senate in Legislative District 6. And we are gonna turn the time over to you. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, everyone. And that's a really hard act to follow. I mean, but Divine, that was wonderful. I definitely wanna read that again. Well, like I said, I'm a nurse, I'm an educator, I'm a retired U.S. Army colonel and a sustainability scientist, as well as a very proud mom. I'm running first and foremost so that no matter where a child lives, they can attend a great public school. And my second priority is to ensure everyone, especially the people in our rural communities, including our tribal nations, have access to quality, affordable health care. And lastly, I want to make sure our state governments are more accountable. I believe that our towns and cities and our local rural communities know what's best for them, and we need much stronger local control to protect Arizona's water and our beautiful open spaces, for not only for today, but our future generations. After I attended Merge in 2017, I decided to run for office that summer after I saw what happened in Charlottesville, Virginia, that protest that was peaceful starting out, and then somebody drove their car into the crowd, killing Heather Hare, and simply because she was exercising her constitutional right to protest the racist rally. I served 32 years in the military defending our country and our Constitution, and it was shocking to me to see that people proudly carrying the flag of the Confederacy and the Nazis, as they are today. But during my years of service, I was proud to serve side by side with people of every color, the LGBT community members, first generation immigrants, and like many of us, the first children of immigrants. So the current things that are going on right now with Black Lives Matter, the fact that ERA, all these things show that we have a long fight for equality and justice still to overcome. The COVID-19 pandemic has also further highlighted our inequalities in our society. I recently returned from volunteering for a month as a nurse in Tuba City in the Navajo Nation. And you may not know, but the Navajo and Hopi tribal nations have been disproportionately devastated by that pandemic. Native Americans make up less than 6% of Arizona's population, but they have suffered over 18% of our state's COVID-19 deaths. And a lot of people don't understand why that is. And it's due to decades of toxic water, soil, air pollution from uranium mining and coal mining, and that coal-powered plant emissions on the tribal lands. Additionally, they suffered from nutritional food deserts and lack of access to quality healthcare. Generations of harm to these people and underlying health problems like diabetes, heart disease, lung disease, such as asthma and emphysema, increases the risk of morbidity and mortality from COVID-19. Some of these injustices, most of them are preventable, and we need to look at. Apparently, there's about 30 to 40% of the people there do not even have running water, and they rely on outhouses. They don't even have septic systems. So it makes it impossible for them to wash their hands to prevent the spread of the disease. And years of disinvestment in education, healthcare, and the right to self-govern on their own lands have led them, to have more problems because of the pandemics and future pandemics. So the other thing is I look at every Arizona deserves to have good schools, good healthcare, and the right to local control. This 2020 is the year we will elect leaders who actually share the values of everyday Arizonans. And women leaders throughout the world, and to include Arizona, our mayors, to include Coral Evans, have proven that women are more collaborative and communal. So when we elect women leaders, they look out for the group, the whole, and look out for those things in future generations. So that's why it's imperative that we elect more women in our state legislature and higher up. But we definitely need to pass that ERA to show, you can't be it if you don't see it. And that is one of the real problems, and that's why we need to pass the ERA. And I'm going to be in the state legislature to help pass it with all these other women. So thank you all very much for your time.
Thank you so much. Silent applause. Diane in the chat box asked Martine, wouldn't it be great to have her in your Senate to work with you? I am sure he's nodding his head yes. Yes, we hope to we are going to do what we can to help you get elected in November. And we're and Laura also wanted to thank you for talking about the challenges facing the Native American communities facing our. And Senator Martin Quezada said he's a huge Felicia French fan, as we all are. So thank you, appreciate you being here tonight.
Thank you.
Yes. So again, in the chat box, you're going to have to scroll. I'm happy to see everyone participating in it. We are posting everyone's websites and social media sites of all the speakers. So make sure if you need those, you're going to have to click on them and before the meeting ends, because it will all disappear. Right. So next up, we have candidate Sharon Gerard. She is running for Legislative District 8 in the Arizona House of Representatives. And we will turn the time over to her. Are you ready?
Unmute myself. Hello, everybody. And thank you very much. I'm Sharon Gerard and running as the only Democrat for the State House in District 8. Last summer, I visited the Library of Congress and their incredible exhibit celebrating the 100th anniversary of the women's right to vote and the ERA. So I am wearing the shirt I bought. Can you see? Shall not be denied. I didn't wear my sash because I didn't want to cover it up. And the tenacity pin that I got, it's hard to see, but it's celebrating the women who settled in Jamestown, in Virginia, Jamestown, Virginia, which was the very first settlement in the United States. And today I'm reflecting on my life and how I've been fighting for women's rights for as long as I can remember. Even in high school, my friend Ellen Martin and I petitioned the school board to let us wear pants. I don't know if you remember, but in 1970, we weren't allowed to wear pants to school. And we worked very hard with the school board to change the dress code. And we were finally allowed to wear pants for special occasions. We were allowed to wear pantsuits. And that was my very first taste of becoming politically active and having a win for women's rights, if you can consider changing the dress code women's rights. I do remember doing some sit-ins and peace marches, and in college, I did those women's sessions and women's centers, and sitting down and sharing our women's thoughts. And then I bought a copy of Our Bodies, Ourselves, and I thought, oh my God, this is great. I love this whole my body, my choice thing, and I might want to work this into a career. So I started out and became a nurse, and then I volunteered at a Venice Home Birth Center, and then I went to PA school at USC, and I never looked back. I dedicated my career to women's health care. I wanted to make sure women knew how their bodies worked and took control of their health care. And everything I did in my career revolved around empowering women. Every day with my patients, I made sure that women knew they were in control and they were going to have the education to make sure they could make good healthcare decisions. And they were going to have the freedom to control their destiny. Long story short, I went on to develop women's healthcare conferences. The very first one was attended by over 200 women. We had Ronald Reagan's daughter, if you remember, Patty Davis, as our keynote speaker. It was incredible. I sat on many boards empowering women and young women. One of the boards was called Women Aware, and then we turned it into Young Women Aware, where we mentored young women, and that was what my life turned into. I worked as a clinician at Planned Parenthood, but I also worked at many other places. Long story short, again, I decided to run for office after I retired. So I believe in healthcare for everyone, making sure that everybody has access to the healthcare they need, especially during these times in COVID, and everyone has the fully funded education that they need. These are so important, and that's why I'm excited that we're going to flip my district and I'm going to win this election, and that we're fighting for women's rights, which I have been doing since way before 1970 and working for ERA. And so thank you very much, and I'm excited that we're moving forward and we're going to get this done. Thank you very much tonight for everybody.
Oh, thank you. Hand applause. Wow, it's kind of shocking to hear about how hard it is to fight to be able to wear pants. I mean, but thank you for all the work.
Did you guys know that?
Well, yeah.
There was a time when you couldn't wear pants to school.
You know, everything we're doing is a culmination of decades and decades of multiple hundreds and hundreds of women and men fighting to get to where we are now. And we still have work to do, but I'm one of many that are so grateful to be able to thank those who have been working at this for so long, and we're the beneficiaries. I'm currently wearing pants because of you. And Diane Post in the comment section said that she organized a sit-in in her high school at age 14. You guys, everyone who knows Diane Post, is that not perfect that she's been at this since age 14? So, well, thank you. Thank you for your work, and I'm really rooting for you this fall, and we're going to do what we can to help you get elected. All right, so speaking of Diane Post, for those of you who don't know her, I'd be surprised. She is a force to be reckoned with, tireless advocate for human rights and women's rights and many other minority organizations and people. So I'm going to let her speak next. She's going to explain the legal battle that's going on right now and where we stand now and getting the Equal Rights Amendment into our Constitution. So Diane Post from the ERA Task Force AZ, among other organizations, you're up.
Okay, I'm ready. We have two lawsuits going at this particular moment. One is a lawsuit that was filed in Massachusetts by the Equal Means Equal group. And the amicus briefs were actually filed today. The final amicus briefs were filed today. And the hearing, the oral argument in front of the court is tomorrow. So the Equal Means Equal group filed a petition to force the archivist to, he is actually entered the ratification by Virginia, but he has not yet entered the ERA as the 28th Amendment. So the lawsuit is to force him to do that. Now, he had said in a letter to Senator Carolyn Maloney back in 2012 that he was going to do that. That, as the law says, when he gets the 38th ratification, he enters it. He puts it in, that's it. And he had said that's what he was going to do. Well, then we got the president we have. And then we got the attorney general we have. And so the attorney general put out a legal memo overturning what the attorney general had said 20 years ago, that that's what he should do, just ratify the ERA. So this attorney general put out a legal opinion saying, oh, no, you can't do that. So that's why the archivist has refused to say that the ERA is the 28th Amendment, when in fact it is. So that case is going on and is going to be argued tomorrow. And the response of the government is pretty much the same response in the two cases that are going. And so the second case that's going is after Virginia ratified the ERA and the archivist did not put the ERA as a 28th Amendment, the three attorneys general from the last three states that ratified the ERA, Nevada in 2017, Illinois in 2018, and Virginia in 2020, they're the last three that made the 38. So the three attorneys general joined together and they filed a lawsuit in Washington, D.C. to say to the archivist, you must certify this and put the ERA into the Constitution. So that's the second lawsuit that's going, and the amicus briefs are due on that by the 29th of June, and the response is due on the 29th of June. So the ERA Task Force Arizona has signed on to an amicus brief for advocate groups, and Arizona State now has signed on to the advocate brief as well. And National League of Women Voters has signed on, National AAUW has signed on. So many, many, many of the groups have signed on. So the argument from the government is, well, first let me take the Massachusetts case. The argument of the government is you don't have standing. Standing in a legal term means you don't have the right to bring a lawsuit because you don't have any skin in the game. Well, of course, women have a lot of skin in the game, but it's a legal matter as to whether the particular skin you have in this particular game is enough to meet the legal requirement. So that's their first argument in Massachusetts, that you don't have standing. Their second argument is timeline, timeline, timeline. No one is yet arguing about rescission. So that issue is not on the table right now. It may be later, but it is not right now. So those are the two issues in the Massachusetts case. Now in the Washington, D.C. case that has the three attorneys general of the three states, they could not argue standing because there really was no legal basis to argue standing. So the response in that case is timeline, timeline, timeline. Now, to understand why their argument is bad, I will tell you two things. That argument has been made before against the 13th Amendment ending slavery, against the 14th Amendment giving equal protection, against the 15th Amendment giving Black men the right to vote, and it's lost every single time in the Supreme Court of the United States. But of course, we have a different Supreme Court now, don't we? So, but we have got a couple of really good decisions out of that Supreme Court. Shocked me, the DACA decision and the LGBT decision. I was very scared that we were going to lose those, but we won them both. So I have hope. So that decision is a loser thus far in the Supreme Court. The second reason why it's not going to be a winning argument is the 27th Amendment is the one that says that sitting Congress people cannot raise their own salary while they're sitting in the seat. So if you're an elected senator or congressperson, you can raise the salary for the person sitting in that seat. but it won't take effect until after you leave. Maybe you won't come back, which is going to be the case in many cases this year. But so maybe you won't be the one to get the benefit of it, but you're not allowed to pass an amendment to raise your own salary while you're sitting in the seat. How long did it take that amendment to pass? 202 years. So please do not talk to me about how a timeline interferes with the ability of passing an amendment or a principle that is a founding principle of equality in the United States Constitution. So once that passed, that sort of blew that whole argument for the timeline out of the water. So that's what's happening with that. So the response from the Attorney General is due on the 29th, and all the amicus briefs have to be filed at the same time. So they'll all be filed on the 29th of June. Then there will be some kind of an oral argument in, a month. You don't know exactly, but sometime in the near future. And then the judge will come out with an opinion within some time, and again, 2 months, 1 month, you just never know. Whoever wins and loses, or whoever loses, will appeal to the Supreme Court. That's a given. Whoever loses that case will appeal to the Supreme Court. So it will eventually get up to the Supreme Court. And there we will be. So that will happen. So the second thing, so that's one legal leg going down that way with the lawsuits. The other legal leg is to get rid of the timeline. It's very clear from the cases from the Supreme Court that if the Congress could set the timeline, they can get rid of it. So that's the second legal leg that is going on at the same time to make the legal argument even stronger. So the House, which is Democratic controlled, of course, passed a bill eliminating the timeline in February 2020, shortly after Virginia became the 38th state. They passed in February to get rid of it. So now it's on to the Senate. Well, we all know the Senate is controlled by the Republicans, and Mitch McConnell will not allow the bill onto the floor. And the bill is Senate Joint Resolution SJ Res 6 to eliminate the timeline. Our two senators, Kyrsten Sinema has signed on to the bill as a co-sponsor in June of 2019. Senator McSally has not. She has received more than 400 letters, emails, phone calls, more than 400. We don't know exactly how many more, but more. To do this, and she will not respond to anything. She will not give us any meetings. She won't respond at all. So she's not on it. Right now, there are 48 senators signed on to SJ Res 6. Well, you need 51 to pass anything, but you need 60 to get it on the floor, because McConnell will not put it on the floor. Now, there are some Republican strategists who believe there's probably at least 6 or 7 more Republicans who will vote for it if we could get it on the floor. So the two methods that are going forward at this moment in time to get it on the floor are to attach it to a must-pass bill. So if there's some kind of a must-pass bill, maybe it's the next, COVID bill or a budget bill or something that must pass, get it attached to that, and then they'll be forced to vote on it. And the other way is to do a discharge petition. Now, we have tried a discharge petition here in Arizona, and Martin Quezada can talk about that, and so could Victoria Steele, because we did try a discharge petition, and we have tried it in the past. And what that does is force the committee that it's in to discharge it. Actually, that's what Martha Griffiths had to do back in 1972 to get the original ERA out of the committee that it was stuck in, because they wouldn't let it out either. So she had to do a discharge petition to get it out onto the floor, where she then got it passed. And every single Arizona representative voted against it. So a discharge petition is another possibility, but it is a slight possibility. It is more likely to attach it to a must-pass bill. So that's the strategy going forward. Some people believe we won't get it passed in this Senate, and we have to get out and work for Kelly, get a different senator, have a different Senate leadership, and then it will pass in January. So it's sort of similar to the Arizona situation. We got to change the color of the leadership in order to get this passed. So there are two legal channels going. Number one, the lawsuits, which, you know, they take a long time. They take several years. And number two, the legislature. So hopefully, well, there's really not much you can do in the lawsuits at this point, but you can help on the legislature by contacting McSally, asking her to support it, but most importantly, working on changing to make Arizona blue and to get Mark Kelly to take McSally's seat. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Diane. That's right. So she's talking about Senate Joint Resolution 6. It's going to remove the timeline in the US Congress, and that way we can not have that argument even necessary. And Senator Sinema voted in favor, or has signed on, so she's a co-sponsor. And Senator McSally has not done anything, and we have sent hundreds of letters to her and many other organizations. So if she is unwilling to support that, we are full force behind Mark Kelly taking her seat so that he can do what she has not. Diane, David Coward said that you rock. Thank you. And you know what, if anybody has a burning question, or if one of the state legislatures want to explain that that process of getting a forced floor vote, we have a couple minutes that we can field a question right now for Diane. If anybody wanted clarification, you can put it in the chat box, or you can unmute yourself really quick. Let's see. Legal analysis. Okay.
I'd love to hear Divine some more.
Yeah. You know what? I can't see her face right now. I'm not in gallery view. We have, up next was Jess Hawk Oakenstar, singer-songwriter, guitarist. She is so talented, but she is ill right now and cannot be here for health reasons. So we want to send her all of our best wishes and thoughts for a good recovery. But if Divine Valentine is willing on the spot, we would love to hear another one in Jess's place before we move on.
Oh my goodness. You guys really want me to just sweat through my clothes?
You are welcome to say no, and no hard feelings. You're in your car now, so we're putting you on the spot. But if you're willing,
okay. I'm gonna pull over. I would love to share another piece. I would love to. It's not long. I'll do a short piece.
Okay.
I'll pull over, and thank you again. I appreciate it. I did put my social media information in the chat as well.
Oh, good. And I'm glad you're being safe, and I'm glad you're willing to be safe.
Okay, give me 1 second. Okay, give me a minute. Okay. I do apologize. I wasn't ready. Hold on. Okay. This is something else I've never recited before, so I hope you enjoy. Okay. I will never approach you like I did before, because I'm always working on self-improvement. I'm always looking to see past the BS and embrace the lesson in it, the in it that would carry me to the next second, the moment in time that confirms my journey is mine, not yours or yours or yours. Call me what you will, but I've already been branded divine style. I like the getup and plan to rock it respectfully. Therefore, when I feel I've had a setback, I look at it as part of the story. A trip up here and there never hurt nobody. So when I feel myself doubting, I say to myself, I wish you would. I wish you would act like you can't, but you could. I've been counseling myself a lot lately, checking in to make sure my alignment is steady. You feel me? That type of self-love is necessary. It's not a question, it's a must. That you are the first person you trust. Everyone past that is a reflection. And yet, you're not supposed to be giving everyone your attention. You got to be careful where you direct your mind to. You got to pull your mind back to you, the self, Lord and Master, the energy that guides you. I remind myself every day that there's a better way. Thank you again, you guys. Thank you, and have a beautiful night. Thank you.
Oh, you too. Beautiful. Thank you so much. Especially for doing extra on the, lots of applauses going on. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. I hope you haven't sweat through all your clothes.
No, right? It's horrible. It's horrible, but thank you.
Yeah, what is your handle?
Where?
Just so start with Twitter. What would your Twitter handle be?
I don't have a Twitter, but I do have Facebook as Divine Valentin. And then I have, I don't know how many of you are on Instagram, but it's BX5 Girl on Instagram. I also have a podcast called Rice and Honey, all one word, and it talks about motherhood and mental health, and it talks about my life as an entrepreneur. So hopefully you can, connect with that and, just hear my story. So that's my mission, is to tell my story and hopefully help those who still need some healing, and maybe we can have some aha moments together.
Okay, amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
If you put it in the chat, it did not come through because I can't find it in the chat.
It's not in the chat. Make sure you click everyone.
Okay.
It's BX5 Girl is your Instagram. So Candace was able to write that in there. And then somebody found your Facebook. Is that Ayari? So I think that somebody else got it in there for you. You can go and check.
Yep, that is my Facebook. Yeah.
Oh, great. Okay.
Yeah.
Valentine,
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes.
Thank you. Take care. All right. I'm going. Can our moderators mute her for her? She's driving. Thank you. All right, so we are going to move on, unless there is, I did not see any questions for Diane, so we're going to move on. If you, again, at any point, go ahead and put a question in there. We'll try to get to it. Someone private messaged me showing me how to save and share the Zoom chat when this is over, so we will keep that as well with all the info in there. We have next up, we are going to hear from another candidate. Judy Schubert is running for Legislative District 20 and now has chosen her as the candidate for that district. And I would like to turn the time over to you, Judy. Are you ready?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, and I love your sash. You got one of the...
Yes, I know. I've got one of the cool kids, I've got my sash. I just want to start out by saying thank you so much for having me. Thank you to Arizona Now for supporting my candidacy. And I am just humbled by all the work that all of you and all the women before us have done. We really are standing on the shoulders of giants, and I am humbled to be among all of you. So thank you for having me. So again, my name is Judy Schubert, and I am a candidate for the Arizona State House from Legislative District 20. I've actually spent my entire life in this district. It's where I raised my two now grown and successful sons. It's where I taught at Greenway and Cactus High Schools for 27 years that are right here in my district. And it's where I have been a community leader. And, as I reflect back on my life, I think really one of the major things that I have learned, and this is such a woman thing, I think, is that we all do better when we're listening to each other and we're working together to get things done. And so now I want to apply that same principle to make sure that every student can get the quality education that they deserve, and that every person in our state can have access to quality, affordable health care, because those two things are the strong foundation for an economy where all of us get the chance to thrive. You know, I grew up in Arizona at a time when my dad could support our family of 5 on his salary as a shop teacher. And he and my mom, who was an early feminist herself, who worked outside the home when it wasn't something that people did back in the day, or that women did back in the day. They were supposed to stay home and be moms, but my mom went out and worked in the theater and worked as a writer. And she and my dad both inspired me to become a teacher. And I got to continue being a teacher even after I became a single mom to my boys and still put food on the table. But more recently, I was volunteering with a master second grade teacher who I was horrified to learn had to work 4 jobs to make ends meet. And finally, she couldn't do it anymore, and she left the state to make twice as much elsewhere in the country as a teacher. I think all of us, or so many of us, know people who have done something similar. And as a result, last year alone, we had children in over 1,800 classrooms who had no permanent qualified teacher. That's why I decided to run for office, because as a mom and a teacher, that just breaks my heart. But it also is terrible for our economy and terrible for business. Our business people are clamoring for a strong, educated workforce. And all of that is happening. We're where we are now because we have too many legislators who don't want to listen and work together. I am proud to be among so many other powerful women candidates who do want to do just that so that we can move Arizona forward and make sure that we are doing things like investing in education and making sure people have health care, and we're growing our economy from the ground up, and we're passing the equal or ratifying the Equal Rights Amendment. You know, I've spent my life working together to get things done. I did it as a teacher when I worked not only with students, but administrators and support staff and counselors to make sure that our kids could pass their classes and walk across that graduation stage. And then I was part of a group of 10 families who started TheaterWorks, the premier community theater in the Valley, as far as I'm concerned, even today. And we soon learned that it was going to take all of us, if we were going to be able to guarantee that lease and convert the old barn into a theater. And when we opened our first show, The Unsinkable Molly Brown, we all had a front row seat to what it means to work together on something that's greater than ourselves. Magic happens. And finally, after the 2016 election, I co-founded a grassroots group in which we could work and educate ourselves, because so many of us were concerned about the threats to healthcare and education and immigration and equal rights. And so we educated ourselves about what we could do on the national stage and worked together. Ultimately, we had over 1,000 people helping us to make sure that we could elect strong women candidates in 2018, and we're not done yet. You know, I believe that education and equal rights are inextricably linked. We need more women leaders like the fabulous ones that we've heard tonight, who will take their place in the legislature, take our place in the legislature, and make sure Arizona is a place that people point to with pride. Those of us who have spent our lives here are proud of our state, but so often we're the butt of national jokes for some of our backward policies. I just know that together we can, as powerful women, transform this state into a place where we're known for our investment in great innovative schools, for our affordable quality health care, including reproductive health care that makes sure that all women have access to it, whether they work in or outside the home, that we have grown an economy fueled by good paying jobs, and that we have ratified the Equal Rights Amendment. I always end with this great quote from Margaret Mead. She said, "Never doubt that a small group of committed people can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has." And here we go. Thank you.
Thank you. That's one of my favorite quotes as well. I hope you can see all the applause for you. Yes, LD20. Anyone on this call, we're going to help Judy Schubert get into office. Thank you so much for joining us. So we just have we have a few minutes left. So thanks for hanging on with us. We're going to, I'm going to share my screen one more time, and then we're going to then after that, I'm going to have Clam Slam, a feminist punk rock band, perform for us. So first, I'm going to share something with all of you. This is our website. So I'm sharing this screen to show you our next goal. Our plans for the rest of this year is the election, and we want November 2020 to have a big turnout, get everyone voting, get all your friends voting, do what you can to volunteer. So here is the Take Action section. If you click on Take Action, you can click what you can do. And we have a lot of resources information, but right here are our ads. We wish that we could had the resources, funds, and the power of numbers to have every district represented, but we're focusing on certain districts, but really we wanted to spotlight every single district. So if you go scroll down to the primary voter guide, we have a PDF that lists the candidates that are pro-ERA is in yellow, anti-ERA is the next column, and then unknown or ambivalent, so that you can see the candidates running in your district who is going to support the ERA. So this is in the House. We have made this for you, and then you just keep scrolling in the Arizona Senate as well to know every district which candidate we are calling the equality candidates. We're supporting and recognizing, even if no matter what party they're from, we are a nonpartisan organization. But again, most of the candidates are not part of the Republican Party right now, but we do have a few that would vote in support of it. As well, what we really need is donations. So here's a donate button. We need donations. We spend that money on Facebook ads and postcards and many other actions. If you click the support button, we have a shop. And if you haven't been paying attention or haven't seen this yet, we have more things for you to buy. We have little stuffed animals of multiple different types of animals, pencils and notebooks and journals. We have the t-shirt that you've been seeing on me tonight, magnets, sashes, buttons, bumper stickers, but here's the surprise. This is our newest thing. We have created a magazine. Yay! We have a magazine that is kind of summarizing the history of the efforts to ratify the Equal Rights Amendment in Arizona. You can buy that from us. I think it's just a few dollars, and we will mail it to you. And thanks to Diane Post and Pat Shahirshan and anyone else who have worked on this, we're excited about it. So that's where you can buy it on MacCloud, or you can donate to our causes. So this is our website, erataskforceaz.com, and that is where you can find the resources and our campaign strategy to help with the election. There's a lot of volunteer opportunities for you. We're asking people to, okay, I'm back. We're asking people to help mail postcards. We're asking people to do call centers for all of these districts. Even if you don't live in that district, we need volunteers. You can find how to volunteer through our website or through the websites of the candidates in the chat box. If you're afraid you're not going to get the chat box after this meeting's over, you can find those websites on our website. We also wanted to give a shout out to our moderators from Democrats Abroad. If you want to put your website in the chat box as well, that would be great. They have an organization that makes sure that citizens living abroad vote in every election, and they have a huge population, and we want that oh my gosh, my mind's just blank. We want that group to be voting. So thank you, Candace and Katie, for moderating this. We are going to close out tonight with a performance, but thank you all to the candidates and legislators that have spoken so powerfully. I hope everyone feels inspired to volunteer, to donate, to make sure that we have a huge turnout in November and make that difference. It really is going to be what it takes to ratify the ERA in Arizona. We have been working and laying the groundwork to make sure that the Equal Rights Amendment is known in everyone's minds and are ready. We want to spotlight those who are equality candidates. Let's get out the vote in November. Let's volunteer. Thank you for all of your work and for being with us tonight. I am going to turn the time over to Clam Slam, a feminist punk rock band we're excited to hear from, to continue our excitement. And then after that, you can hang for a minute or two and we can say goodbye to each other and see any last minute questions. You ready, Clam Slam?
You're ready, can you hear us?
Here they are, look at you, looking good.
This song's called Pink Tax. Here we go. Been all over town, 'cause I'm in need. Nuke my uterus and make me bleed. It never stops, 'cause it's up to me. Right now I need plan B. Right-wing conservatives don't understand that birth control was left to the man. Make him choose the bus next to me while all the guilty free. I can stand on our own. We have to be strong. Pink tax will price to being a girl and something has gone wrong. It just doesn't seem right that I don't have to say. It's my body, it's my rules. You should learn to like it that way. The church hates the gays and sexual little kids. Is that what you think morality is? Refuse the wedding cake and that's just fine. But abort my rapist baby and that's a fucking crime. Have to stand on our own. We have to be strong. Pink tax will price to being a girl and something has gone wrong. It just doesn't seem right that I don't have to say. It's my body, it's my rules. You should learn to like it that way. Hush, little girl, you'll be just fine. Pink taxes are in your mind. Subscribe to the aisle, no, that shit ain't cheap. Pay taxes are real, and it's fucking cheap. We should all have so much more to say. Don't shut your mouth, don't live that way. Don't let them push you around. Don't let the factors grind you down. Have to stand on our own. We have to be strong. Pink tax the price of being a girl and something has gone wrong. It just doesn't seem right that I don't have a say. It's my body, it's my rules. You should learn to like it that way. It just doesn't seem right that I don't have a say. It's my body, it's my rules. You should learn to like it that way. Now leave us, get upstairs, courage, do it, bitches. Thank you, ERA, for having us. Thank you. Clam Slam. Check us out on Facebook.
Yay! Can you see all the applause? That's awesome. Hey, we found your Facebook and put that in the chat box, but if you have any other handles or websites you want to share, please share. Thank you. That was a lot of fun. I was laughing in case anyone didn't miss the back of her guitar. That was great. Okay, so Diane blames you all for her broken ankle because she was leaving your concert when she broke her ankle. All right. Well, you guys, we've gone a little over, so I'm gonna just wrap up. Thank you all for joining us tonight. I'm really hopeful that next year we will have another exciting party, and next year we'll be celebrating Arizona ratifying the ERA. So let's all work hard for a few more months to make that happen. And if anyone else would like to, let's do gallery view. Everyone click the gallery view so we can all say goodbye to each other. Thank you guys, everybody. We have so many amazing supporters. We appreciate it. And please volunteer for these candidates. We need all the attention we can get on their districts. We need to get them elected into Arizona State Legislature and ratify the ERA. We want equality candidates. We're doing what we can with our limited resources, but the more volunteers we can get, the better. We can make calls, we can send letters, share their posts on social media. Anyway, so thank you all. I'm going to try to save this chat for all of you, and I appreciate everyone being here. So that is the end of our program. And we can stop recording. And then if you want to stay on for a couple extra minutes and unmute yourself, we're welcome.